All right, what's up, guys? So today I want to talk about a topic which a lot of people ask me about, and that's how to get better technique. Now, I want to make this video more for the people that have about like 6 months or more experience, maybe even up to a year. Because you see, a lot of you new guys, you really should just be trying to learn all the, basics, right? Like your basic footwork, your basic strikes, basic defense. There's really shouldn't be that much pressure on yourself to get better technique because you are so new at this. But today I want to talk directly to the people with a little bit of experience. And normally my videos are in the form of tutorials, which is a little spoon-fed, but the only way for me to really explain this topic is to get a little bit brutally honest, because I think what it is a lot of you guys that say you want to get better technique, it might piss some people off, but you don't really want to get technique as good as you think you do. And what I mean by that is really ask yourself the last time you actually video recorded yourself, held yourself to some kind of a standard, and really tried to take a good look at what the fuck you're doing when you're training. A lot of times, like, people ask me, is it nerve-wracking getting in the ring? Well, I'll tell you what, when I was having my first fight, I don't really remember getting too nervous, but when I was doing my first, belt promotion in my karate class when I was 16, for sure that shit was really made me nervous because, I had been put in the position where I have to go through these forms. I got a guy that's going to be looking at my every move, critiquing everything I do, stopping me every 2 moments to make a comment about something I did wrong and basically take a form that should really only last about a minute and stretch it out to like a 5-minute ordeal, okay? But, that's sort of the type of accountability it takes to get good technique. A lot of you guys, it's like you go through these workouts in these Muay Thai classes or these boxing classes or these sessions, and a lot of times it's a shame on the coaches because they're fucking just trying to make money, right? So they got to put you through a workout. So that's why they're going to be having you do shit like kick fucking Muay Thai pads 50 times in a row and not really pay attention to the form, but just how much you're sweating and how much of a workout you're getting. That's why a lot of these gyms will be very, very hot because, the hotter the gym, the more you're going to sweat. If they can get you to feel like you got to work out in that hour, you're going to, go back and feel like it's working for you. But you guys got to realize it gets to the point where it's not about how much of like a fucking workout you're getting. Obviously, you want to train hard to get the speed, the power, the balance, the technique, the endurance and cardio, all that stuff. But if we're talking purely about acquiring skill, getting better technique, you got to realize, man, like you need to break down what the fuck you're doing. You need feedback constantly. So whether that's you throwing strikes in a mirror and watching yourself, or you're recording yourself when you're fresh and when you're fatigued, it's the only real way you're going to make these adjustments, because people got to get out of the mind frame of, if I do, this many reps, my kick's going to be that much better. This fucking Bruce Lee shit, like, oh, I fear more the guy that did a kick 1,000 times than the guy that did 1,000 kicks one time. Guess what? You could do a kick shitty and your kick could still be shitty after you did it 1,000 fucking times. 1,000 times really isn't even that much, relatively speaking. So I'm getting a little brutal here, but this is, like I said, for the guys that have been training for a little while, because a lot of you guys that have been kind of training for a while, if I was training you in person, we'd be approaching the point where the spoon feeding is going to come to a little bit of an end, and I'm going to get more honest with you. And like I said, I know how it feels. Sometimes, like, if you're throwing the jab and you keep dropping your, right hand, or you're flaring your elbow out or your chin's up, for sure this stuff is hard. It takes lots and lots of reps to get ingrained into you, but you at least have to make the effort, right? You can't be sitting there just throwing fucking punches on mitts or the bag with no accountability of how good you look, or if you're doing everything you need to be doing, and then wonder why you don't just magically get better. The best way to get better technique right now is to literally just make your technique better. And it's easier said than done. But if you're at least trying to make your technique better, if you're at least realizing, okay, I got to be mindful of not flaring out my elbow when I punch. I got to be mindful of not throwing too much weight over my lead foot and being off balance. I got to be mindful of not letting my chin rise up. These are the type of things you need to scrub out in your, shadow boxing the mirror, recording yourself doing shadow boxing, or with some kind of a partner or trainer, because would you rather have it happen when you're training and look a little dumb or have someone critique you? Or would you rather get fucking hit a lot more in your sparring? Because understand, with all respect to grappling, I wrestled in high school, I've done jiu-jitsu, but striking is not that. Striking is a thing where, We don't romanticize getting beat up in the gym because we're technically losing fucking brain cells in order to get better at our craft. A lot of times grapplers will sort of romanticize like, yeah, I got smashed today. No, you got fucking out grappled on a mat, bro. You go and put 16-ounce gloves and a headgear on and you get in that ring. You're going to actually get fucking beat up. You're going to actually get, hit potentially like 40 fucking times in a 2 or 3 minute round. And the truth is, like, you're not always going to have people there that are going to care about you. So, even if it's, impossible to not get hit, to not make mistakes, you want to mitigate the amount of just absolute beginner mistakes you're making by scrubbing that stuff out in the gym. And that's why I'm being so brutally honest here and a little bit hard on you, because sometimes the only way to really get rid of these bad habits is to think of the fact that for every bad habit you made, there's going to be a consequence. So for example, if you're being way too heavy on your front leg when you're kickboxing, you're doing Muay Thai, that leg is going to get chewed up. If you can't, let's say for you Muay Thai fighters, throw a check off of your jab cross, you are never going to get your leg back if a guy throws a leg kick at you while you're punching. For you boxers, if you're not bringing your hand all the way back to your chin for your jab or your cross hand, you are going to get countered and you're going to get hit in the fucking mouth before your hand gets back, okay? So if you think you're going to be throwing a jab cross left hook on your opponent, guess what? Your left hook is never going to actually come, because when you throw your jab cross, they're already going to be countering you. So you need to get in front of the mirror. You need to get real with yourself. You need to make sure that you're trying absolutely as hard as you can, giving yourself constant feedback and accountability to get rid of these bad habits and mistakes, okay? And I know this is easier said than done, but understand it's much better to get, let's say, 1,000 reps of very mindful training instead of 1,000 reps of mindless training that you think is going to somehow magically make you better. A lot of times we like to say, oh, you just keep doing it till you get it right. No, get it right now. Have that mindset. And then by the time you get to 1,000 reps, you might actually have it very well. You can't just think that you going to your Muay Thai class, going to your boxing class, you're just going to get better. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter if you're paying for a personal trainer. You and you yourself alone are the only person that's really going to hold yourself accountable when you're in some kind of a sparring scenario where even if someone's feeding you the best advice in the world, it has to be built into you. You can't decide mid-sparring session that you're going to start actually keeping your hands up, that you're going to actually stop chicken wing your elbows out when you jab and when, you're in the pocket, that you're going to exhale and inhale between and during your punches, okay? Like, these things need to be made second nature in the least amount of pressure, okay? Like, when it really doesn't matter. Because if you can't do these things while there's almost no pressure, what makes you think you're going to do them when the pressure's on and there's actual consequences? Now, if you're someone that doesn't plan on sparring, that's absolutely fine. Maybe this doesn't apply to you the same way. However, at the end of the day, why would you want to train something for fitness and waste reps when you could be doing it right? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, why train boxing for 10 years for fitness and just be a shitty boxer at the end of it? Like, even if you did want to spar randomly, you're not even good because you've always just trained in a way that's not very rooted in reality, okay? So this kind of goes for everybody. And like I said, you newer guys that maybe stuck around for this, you don't have to worry yourself with this so much. The pressure's not on for you. I'm kind of talking more about the people where, like, you've been training a lot for 6 months, or you've just been training a couple times a week for a year, 2 years, and you're getting to the point where you have this like base built, but you're not even really fucking trying to get better. Like, you say you want better technique, but I can tell, like, I've trained a lot of people. I can tell they don't give a shit. I can tell that when they throw a fucking round kick, they're not actually, paying attention to if they're pivoting on their foot, or if they're kicking with the lower part of the shin or the upper part of the shin, or if they actually, even care which part of the shin they're kicking with. They're not being mindful of anything they're doing. And I'll be honest with you, being mindful of all these little details, it's not just going to keep you out of trouble. It's what's going to make you get so much better, so much quicker. I always hear people say you can't rush the process. Listen, you can't rush the process, but you can absolutely be mindless and make the process take a lot fucking longer than it needs to be, okay? So that's the takeaway. I didn't mean to get so rough in this video, but I really just don't think there was a way for me to get this point across without sort of speaking in this manner, right? Because like I said, if I was your coach in real life, I'd care about you. If I brought you to a gym to spar, I'd want to see you do well, right? I'm not saying that we have to play, rough or be like bad sportsmanship, but I'm going to care about you a lot more than I'm going to care about the other guy. You get what I'm saying? So I hope this helps you guys, maybe start recording yourself, analyze yourself, write down some of the things you need to work on and hammer those things out. Don't just mindlessly do reps. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more.